Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Clayton Thomas, and today we're going to be talking about how we're being murdered by the environment, by this satanic agenda, the satanic cabal, or the state of Israel, and those people around it. But Clayton, thank you so much for joining me, sir. How are you, and what have you been up to?
You know what? I'm so happy to be back. I didn't know that we would be working on the same color schemes and the same color schemes that you had when you were talking with Christina. So it's kind of perfect. But the ability to follow my distinguished spouse is my favorite thing to do. So I think now that she got to talk about sculpt and a couple of the pieces of what's really important, we can dive into what and why, of what's going on and why some of these, popular terms are happening, and tying a bow on this entire package. I think that's
Yeah.
what's really, really important
Yeah,
right
let's
now.
let's go for it. We're being murdered by the environment. I remember, it's been 5 years now, a year after COVID, where the vaccines were given, and a lot of people that I interviewed said, "Look, people are going to drop dead after 5 years," and this is something that you were saying just before we hit the record button. You were saying, "Yeah, people are dying," and we're going
Yeah.
to see more of this, and um, explain that, and how can we mitigate that for those who have taken the vaccine?
Well, in order to understand the truth behind the science, you actually have to have references that understand the science and that have been there, right? And I'm married to one. You interviewed her, because of Christina's background. I mean, she's got 6 doctorates, 3 postdocs from Harvard and, Cornell in 20 years at the highest levels of medical and clinical science and biotech. And a prophecy put over her 29 years ago that she was put here to heal people in a war on healthcare. And
Right.
she was one of the first people to contract Lyme's disease. She's been through it, but through her journey, she is not a biotech or pharma shill, right? She left the space, but because of the path that she needed to walk in order to know how to do what she's done now, she's been there. She was at Bristol Myers Squibb about 16, let me see, 11, 16, 17, 18 years ago, doing HIV research with the concept was if you could infect people with rheumatoid arthritis, they couldn't get HIV. And they were using mRNA vaccines to do this. And if you ask her, she'll tell you that mRNA is her favorite delivery mechanism, right? If you look at it purely scientifically, it's it's amazing. But here's the problem. Going back to the late 80s, when they started doing this research, and everything that's been done on animals prior has proven that the outcomes, and she saw this in doing the Beagle studies, what they were doing initially with HIV, is at about the 6 or 7 year point. Now, the cascade of symptoms and adverse reactions start really early, but by year 6 or 7, all of the animals died.
Hmm.
And it's not because of the cascade that the mRNA itself does. This is the flaw that people are talking about, spike proteins and all this stuff. That's not it. What this stuff causes is a cascade of degradation in the body that is unique to every individual, right? So if we look at professional sports right now and college sports, the reason that we see so many professional athletes having connective tissue and soft tissue injuries, rupturing Achilles, rupturing tendons, and having cartilage issues is because they've been over vaccinated with these mRNA vaccines. And this is why you see the increase in pro BNP, the cardiac inflammation markers in athletes, because their exercise regimen is putting stress on those specific areas, which this cascade of chaos that's injected into them is going to manipulate and exacerbate. Now, the same issue applies to people that have insulin resistance. Now, we know that in the United States, probably 70 to 80% of the population is insulin resistant. Not just type 2 diabetic, type 1, type 2 diabetic, but truly insulin resistant. And insulin resistance actually doesn't have a body type. This is the craziest part of this. You can look like me or you and look and be fit and still be insulin resistant. Then you can be obese or fat and overweight and be insulin resistant. This this complication of 70% of the 60 to 70% of the population getting these vaccines not only was a problem for them, it's a problem for everyone that wasn't, for a couple of reasons. One, the communication process of humans causes those that have been vaccinated to basically infect those that haven't, which is horrific, but they knew that. They told us stay 6 feet apart, and we're like, that's bullshit. We're people. We're gonna get together. We're gonna do what we are, and because that's what happens. But they laid it out. It wasn't that it was getting sick. It was the programming, right? And these things, once they're in us, if you're weak, right? This is the key. If you're weak, they will manipulate you. They will destroy you. So you see this cascade. And is it not funny that then a few years after this, 6 years into this campaign, right? 5 to 6 years into this campaign, they come up with GLP-1s. You think that that was a new invention? No, they've been doing this shit for a long time, but they knew how to trigger it in people. And now we have all of this entire market that was heavily the non-vaccinated space, right? Of people like, I would never get these vaccines, but they're like, oh my God, these peptides are so amazing. And they're then doing other injections that are overriding your body's natural biological pathways and shutting a bunch of them off.
So you're
That
saying that it's bad to inject yourself with GLP-1s, peptides.
absolutely.
Can you explain why? Yeah.
It's the worst thing you can do. I will, for a couple reasons. One, these peptides, and Christina talks about this a lot, and she's worked on peptides for over 30 years, right? So this is not a new subject for her. It's not a new subject for me. But peptides are small chain amino acids that serve as a signaling molecule. Now, from a marketing standpoint, you have companies that have created different monikers and different names now for like BPC 157. It's like body protection compound 157. What that is it's a combination of 19 amino acids, little pieces of them in a small chain. Now the problem is in all of these injections, they're synthetic. They're not natural. They're not what the body needs to actually produce them. Now, this goes back to the poisoning part. There's three truths, which we've talked about numerous times before. The air, the water, the soil, all polluted. Glyphosate, mercury, lead, aluminum, PBEs, PBDEs, PFAS, other environmental chemicals, GMOs, all of these things are in us and are disrupting our natural mechanisms for production. So if peptides are combinations of amino acids, of essential amino acids, and we used to have a large store of these in our body, and our food supply used to provide them. This is why meat and eggs and different protein sources are so important, because those provide the essential amino acids that we have to consume. We don't make these, you have to get them, that allow for those peptides to be produced. And they're produced in your gut. But if your gut's all screwed up, right, because of the dysbiosis, because of the glyphosate, because of the leaky gut, and everything else that goes on in this chaos, the overgrowth of fungus, the parasitic issues that are caused by the overgrowth of fungus, all of these issues create an environment that is not conducive for your body to work the way that God made you to. So what did they do? They said, you know what? I have a needle for you. You don't have to do this naturally anymore. Let us take care of it for you. Don't mind the fact that what you're injecting is loaded with mercury and other metals and other toxins and substances that you don't even know. Don't don't let the God created mechanism do what it's made to do. Let me do it for you. Let me make it easy for you. Just fall in love with the needle, right? Show me one instance in human history where health and wellness and performance has come in the eye of a needle.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's never been one. This is the flaw, and it just eats at our favorite sin, vanity.
Mm. So, of course, I mean, yes, you're saying that there's a lot of so-called health things like the GLP ones, which I've tried myself, and it's really ruined my gastro system, and I would not do it again. Yes, it did allow me to lose a bit of weight very quickly, actually.
Yeah.
But when I came off it, I had a bit of spicy food, and that was it. I was puking. I was just really. It was in bed. It was horrible. So, and I thought, I am not doing it again. Everything's natural: diet, training, drinking loads of water, and natural supplements. No injectables. Okay, and I want to go and talk about now Sculpt and Crush, because this is oral. It's not injectable, and you're saying that this releases your own peptides. Can you go into that?
Yeah, so you have to understand that everything that Root has is designed by the world's, and I will argue this, and no one can retort this. Christina is the world's leading nanotechnologist, bioscience engineer, and quantum physicist.
She is. I think she's fantastic. Dr. Christina Ram, who I had on last time, very humble, loving person. If you recognize this lady, amazing person.
So
I know she's lost a child. I don't know the details. I know she fought uh, cancer. Uh, she's
multiple
she's
times,
yeah,
brain
multiple times.
tumor,
Yeah,
spine cancer, every
and
kind of
she has
cancer.
come. Her mission is to help others, and she has created Sculpt and Crush, and she owns these patents, and they're absolutely amazing. Tell us, please, Clayton. Sorry, I just thought I had to mention that.
And this is not something new, right? This is some like just the creation of Sculpt took 3 years because what she did in this, one of the ingredients, the Gymnea sylvestre that she's specifically using, the Swiss government came back to us when she was working on product registration 3 years ago, and they're like, "Look, that's a pharmaceutical." She's like, "No, it's all natural. Look at the list." They're like, "No, because a lot of pharmakia in the pharmaceutical industry comes out of Switzerland. We don't have to get into why that happened, but the they looked at the formulation of this and they're like, look, in Switzerland, that's a drug because that regulates insulin better than insulin and other pharmaceutical medications. So that's a drug in this country. And we were like, well, then we won't put it in our Swiss warehouse. We'll have it in Germany and our customers can get it from our German warehouse to ship to Switzerland. But what this does is allows the body to produce a few things that are very, very crucial when it comes to appetite suppression, insulin management, blood sugar control and management, as well as insulin growth factors. Because these these conversations about peptides are not a one-off conversation. In order to think that, you are divesting from the fact that we are the most complex, divinely created operating system on the freaking planet.
Hmm.
If you want to get into the process of why someone would say, take this shot to do this, take this shot to do that, and they don't tell you how those would cross interact, your audience knows this. If you and I learned this as a child because I've been studying integrative health for 45 plus years. Vaccines and the term vaccinosis. The term vaccinosis is still used in veterinary medicine. It was removed from the human medical dictionaries decades ago because the definition of vaccinosis is the complication of health issues that persists from receiving multiple vaccines and the damage that's caused from having multiple vaccines, not just at one time, but the compilation of them. And this is due to one, what's in the vaccines from a virus per se, but also the adjuvants that are added in there, the mercury, the aluminum. You can go through a whole host of other stuff that's been put in things. But this component of vaccinosis also applies to HIV. And this is really important because glyphosate causes AIDS. But during the HIV crisis, when Christina was doing research into HIV, the gay population, which is where HIV was most prevalent, maybe they were trying to kill off a population initially, who knew? But you had homosexual men that were having HIV parties because they had the belief that if they were infected with HIV, they could have sex with other men that had HIV and it was okay. What they didn't know and what was proven because of this experience that took place is that they all had different versions of the virus and they cross infected one another, which caused a cascade of chaos. And the body can deal with one virus, but it can't deal with multiple. It's too many attacks at the same time. So these guys all started dying. This is the same thing that's going on now. If you're dealing with one issue, the body, if it's healthy, can deal with it. But if it starts dealing with multiple simultaneously and your system is depleted or not functioning the way that it's made to, you are going to be compromised and you will become a victim of your environment. Now, how does this apply to what's happened over the last 6 years? Every single person that got multiple mRNA vaccines created their own variant. So just in the United States, there's over 200 million different variants of viruses that were created from this campaign. That's freaking genius. When you look at it, if we were looking at creating a bioweapon that was designed to control and destroy a population, I don't think you could plan it any better because they did it without risk, right? They have no risk for it, no financial. They made billions of dollars. And here's the best part. They got people to choose to do it. So they overrode free will and said, you will be deceived and you will choose poorly. I think that's in the Bible. So they line this up. So when you understand the big picture of what's going on, and then when you look at this system and you understand its divinity, then and you know bioscience engineering, right? That the body is it has hardware and an operating system. The software, our genetics and how we function, is what makes us unique. But we're all human, right? The hardware and the operating system is all the same. Our soul is our individual that is driving the machine. But it works on not digestion, not calories. It works on energy and frequency and intention and love and specific programming. So she created the mechanisms using nature, right? No synthetics, of combining the right aspects of nature and programming them with intention, love, and the things that she knows how to do because she's a quantum physicist, and programming them specifically, like for Sculpt, to say, okay, this is going to regulate blood sugar. It's going to help flush out blood sugar. It's going to help regulate and control insulin, which is crucial, not just for insulin resistance and diabetes and those aspects, but as an athlete, insulin management is crucial for muscle development and maintenance. But then the production of these GLPs, not just one, but there's multiple, and other mechanisms that assist digestion and dietary control and that aspect. And then crush, this is my favorite. Crush is a combination of all of the essential amino acids and specific liver metabolites because when you eat steak or you eat eggs, right? They used to have the essential a large concentration of essential amino acids in them that your gut is going to dissolve and break apart, and then your liver is going to take that information. And this is why eggs are so valuable, because of the fat content and the amino acid content that your liver takes and takes to signaling and says, here, produce muscle, produce connective tissue, produce bone, produce peptides, because the essential amino acids are what the body is going to take from a programming standpoint and say, okay, I'm taking a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and I'm going to put this chain together so it can do this. And then I'm going to take this one, this one, this one, and then it's going to do this. And then this one, 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 this one are going to do that. That's how this is made to work. Not because I have my props. Oh, let's draw some stuff and then stick it in here. That's not how it works. It's not the way it's supposed to be done. Yeah. Knows what to do if you take care of it. And you only get to do this once in this lesson.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Well, look, thank you, Clayton. Yeah, I'm going to leave the link below in the description for Sculpt and Crush. But Clay, how do you actually take it? How do you advise to take that on a daily routine? And what stuff do you think we should be feeling and benefiting from this moving forward?
Bro, I'm 50.
Look, I'm hoping to lose weight.
No, you don't. Here's the thing. This is the flaw.
Okay.
You probably don't want to lose weight. You might lose a couple pounds. Here's the key for everybody. This concept of weight loss is the biggest fucking lie that we have. You don't need to lose weight. You need to eliminate inflammation and fat stores, and toxins and environmental toxins are what's stored in fat, in your fat as well as in your liver, right? This is why clean spirits is so important, because it will eliminate a fatty liver, any kind. It's already patented, already proven. So you need to reduce systemic inflammation and allow fat cells to shrink. Here's the thing. You don't lose fat. The only time you lose fat is if you do liposuction. If a doctor cuts into you and actually takes fat out of you, that's the only time you actually lose fat. Fat cells will shrink into really, really tiny cells if they're not storing all of this trash and they're not inflamed. So you want to reduce that, but you need to add muscle. Right? You need to generate bone. You need to solidify your bones and add muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat, right? Yeah. Based on volume. So as you're reducing the inflammation and reducing the size of those fat molecules, those fat cells, and increasing your lean mass, your weight might change, might decrease, it might even go up. But weight's not the deal. That's why Sculpt has its name, because your body will reconfigure. You can get an idea of how you're doing, not by stepping on the scale, but by looking in the mirror, right? When you get up, you're like, oh, my pecs are looking better. I can see my abs. You're right. My butt's looking a little better. My legs are more striated. I've got more muscle on my arms.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's not about, oh, I want to lose weight. No, because you can lose bone mass and you can lose muscle mass, and you'll lose a ton of weight and it'll kill you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's what all of these synthetics are doing.
Absolutely. Well, Clay, thank you so much for joining with us today. We're running out of time, but the link is below in the description for Sculpt and Crush, and even the Clean Slate, which Dr. Christina Rahm has done an amazing job at creating that. They're natural, and they basically detox your blood, your body, and helps your immune system do its job, and the brain and the pineal gland. I know what you're saying. Clay, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
This is not a quick fix. So if you're going to do this, and I would recommend you do this. I do this. Look, I'm 50, right? I don't look 50. And that's because of what I've been able to do, especially over the last 6 years, because I don't go to the gym. I don't. I don't make the time. But to be able to maintain this is not it's not a quick fix, right? It's not like sticking in a bunch of needles. So if you're going to do this, give it 90 days. Because for your body to reset its entire insulin management, it takes 60 to 90 days for it to happen. When we came out with Sculpt initially and I added it into, my regimen, I lost I lost 12 pounds in like 60 days. I mean, it just came off because the inflammatory aspect. And when the sugar just started flushing out, I was like, oh, this is cool. And I got to see that because our travel routine was so crazy. And I eat poorly when I travel because I love food. And, so you get a little bloated from all the travel and the inflammation. And it just went. So it's, it's something and here's the thing, this will save you money because like steak, which if you're an it's like, oh, I got to eat meat. Steak is so overpriced now because of what they're doing with beef and everything. And you know that the beef is poisoned.
Mm,
And in the United States, the number one risk factor for colon cancer happens to be grass-fed beef,
yeah.
right? We know the air's polluted, the water's polluted, the soil's polluted, which means the food is polluted. So you can't get what you need in beef anymore. You can still eat that, but crush is basically what your stomach will break down to to make all of those aminos and peptides so you don't have to eat all the steak. You have it in this. This is a protein assistant. You don't need protein powders, all that whey protein powders, all those bullshit. This gives you everything that is necessary for the body to do what it's made to do.
Yes.
Fluff.
Absolutely. Well, the link is below. Thank you very much, Clayton. I really appreciate you. And again, we'll speak again very soon. You take care and God
Cheers,
bless.
brother.
Bye bye.